It's FPL Game Week 1 and you score 35 points and you're ranked 8.9 million in the entire world. What are you going to do? Are you going to take those hits? Are you going to chase the players who scored the goals in the previous game week? Well, today we're going to be breaking down how Erik Ibsen, the current world FPL champion, moved from 8.9 million in Game Week 1 to winning the FPL season 2025-2026. We're going to be analyzing the transfers he made, his chip strategies, and how he did this in his first time playing the game. I'm Frank, and this is Football Lab. So Eric Ibsen's game week 1 started off quite rough. He scored 35 points. That was mainly due to the fact that he wanted to do something extraordinary, quite different, right? So he decided to go with um, two strikers up front. He ignored Haaland, right? And then he captained Tarkowski. So in his interview, he said he was really keen on getting those defensive contributions from the defenders, right? So he had Tarkowski, and then the first game didn't really go so well for him. So what he did was he deployed his wildcard chip at the end of game week 1. So that would really help him move forward. So that goes down as a very good strategy to deploy. If your team isn't doing so well at the beginning, you could also do the same. Now, by game week 29, he had moved from being eighth position in the world to world number one, and then he remained there till the end of the season. Let me give you a detailed analysis of how he did that. So in game week 6, he triple captained Haaland, and what was the thinking behind that? Why would he do that? But in my opinion, first time, you could do whatever you want, and having twice the amount of chips from the previous season, FPL did that for us. So yeah, that would really go a long way to boosting his confidence. And then his highest point tally for the entire season came in game week 10 when he used his bench boost in game week 10. And it's quite it's really really it's important to notice how the thought process works and what Eric was really thinking. Terms that he is a fixture based and a form based analyst or form based FPL manager. So it doesn't really matter, what's gonna happen if, like in game week 6, Haaland was playing Burnley. So he thought to himself, this would be a very good idea. This would be a very good time to deploy my triple captain because why not? So he did that, and then in game week 10, the fixtures looked so well, his team looked so well, everybody on his team was going to play, so why not deploy a bench boost? And he did that, and apparently everything worked out really good for him. So that's something you could deploy, or something you can employ in your own FPL season this year. If the fixtures look right, you don't have to wait for anybody's opinion. You don't have to care about the videos you see. Just deploy your chips. Doesn't really matter anyways. You get two at the end of the day. Every week was an opportunity to seize the positions and to remain above average every week. And he did this knowingly or unknowingly. And he said in the interviews he really is an Everton fan. He was really excited about starting out with having Everton players, right? So he really saw this opportunity every week to seize the game week and just score above average. It's really good to notice that he did this for every game week. For every game week, he scored above average. He brought in players like Welbeck in game week 10, and also he kept a very, very similar team for almost 24 weeks. Amassing points from Rice, Munoz, Haaland. It's crazy. It's really amazing how he did this. Another good thing to notice about his strategy is how he budgets, right? He buys the players that are always gonna play. He buys legit starters, right? And his bench is never empty with these players and they're going to play. So when you get a squad rotation or you get you know, like how he deploys his game, his bench boost in game week 10, that was really awesome because he had Caicedo on the bench. He said it was really good of an idea to have those defensive contributing players, in the central defensive midfield. I was like Caicedo, Declan Rice. Those guys um every week amassed a lot of points. So he kept on gathering these players and deploying the chips when he had to. So this will be a strategy I will be deploying in my own FPL season. And I don't know if you're going to do that too. So I'm going to make sure one, my bench is always stacked with players that are always going to play. And I'm not going to always worry about what my opponents are doing behind me. And I'm going to focus on, going ahead and beating everybody in my mini leagues in everywhere. So I'm just going to be trusting my own instincts and playing the game. I mean, what is FPL for then, if not that? One great strategy to notice about Erik Ibsen's season was how he does nothing for game weeks, 5 game weeks, 4 game weeks, amassing all the transfers, I think that's really good strategy. Doing nothing is actually doing something here. When you have those fixtures coming in and you're tempted to make a transfer, if you don't feel like making a transfer, you don't have to make a transfer. So you could let the transfers accumulate, you could let them roll over into the next game week. So you have 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 transfers in the next game week. So you could plan better and you could also do better and perform better with the accumulated transfers. Having 5 transfers is almost, I would say that's half of a wild card if you plan it right. So that'll be something to think about. Before we get to review Eric's game week 38, his final game week, the one in which he brought in Bowen and Pedro Porro, and he amassed a very, very good amount of points, and then he won the season, right? Allow me to run you by a checklist of all the things he did from start to end. So, first of all, you have to trust your instincts. You have to adapt very quickly. You have to do completely no transfers. No, you have to take no transfer hits, no minuses at all. You have to ensure that your 15 players on your team are 15 starters, including the goalkeeper. And then you have to, monitor your FPL content. You have to be sure where you're getting FPL content because that tends to influence your decisions a lot. So you can like have your one decision and then be on some app where they tell you we give you all the predictions for the week, player stats, and you're also watching the game and you're also on Twitter, you're all over the place. So you have to try to keep your focus so you know what you're doing. And then try to roll over transfers to like five minimums. So you have time to plan, your transfers in the coming weeks. So Eric clearly states that consistency is key. Rather than focus on getting 120 points weekly, why don't you just focus on beating the average every week, which is what he did. And also, when he wants to make a transfer, he focuses rather on the price of the player, the stats of the player, and also the form of the player. And he always thinks 5 to 6 game weeks ahead when he's planning a transfer. So now to the back end of the season. So from game weeks 20 and onwards, he actually has two different strategies for his chips. So for some people who have all the 4 chips active, so what he would do or what he did for that was he used his wild card in game week 32. Then he used the bench boost in game week 33. He used the free hit in game week 34, and then the triple captain later on. This strategy favors those people that have all their chips in store and you're just waiting for the AFCON to be over, and you're watching the league and you have all your chips intact. So this would favor you, and this would actually work. For those who have used your wildcard earlier on, so you could do your free hit in game week 33, your bench boost later on, and then your wildcard around game week 35 or 36 you know. So this strategy works for people who have used your wildcard already, you know. So and also something to keep in mind is to always watch the league and have your own opinion and like see the team that's in form. Some teams have some things to lose. You have certain teams that are fighting for relegation. We have certain teams that are fighting for the league, like Arsenal, and like in Arsenal's case last year. So it would be a really good idea to focus on those players that are fighting to score as many goals as possible. Those would be really good players to have on your team going forward. Eric further goes on to say Locke played a really great role in him achieving this great fit, right? So it's really a mixture of luck, consistency, skill, and personal preferences. So this really helped him nail his number 1 spot in the FPL last year. So luck really goes a long way. So I hope you're lucky. I hope I'm lucky. So don't forget to like and subscribe. This will help my channel grow. And yeah, hit that bell and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.